Aiming in Fortnite, the newly released BR game brought to you by Epic, can be pretty aggravating for newer players who have not completely grasped the game's mechanics. In this video, I am going to show you the ins and outs, transforming your gameplay from potato into something that is worth half an ass. So, if you are still here, good. Let's get it started. This guide is intended for newer players, or players who find themselves struggling within the game. Veteran players may feel these tips to be common knowledge and not really new to them, as just a warning to any seasoned players watching. The mechanics within the game may change as well, so keep that in mind when viewing this guide a year from now. The first thing I want to talk about is the bloom. Some of you might be wondering what in the hell that is. Commonly confused for the bloom using computer graphics, the bloom we'll be talking about in this video will be referring to the bloom that occurs when you shoot your weapon in Fortnite. As you can see, you may have your dot right on top of somebody, but your bullets may shoot left or right of where you are aiming. That's the bloom. Anywhere within your crosshairs will be where the bloom happens, so being able to make your crosshairs as small as possible while shooting at somebody will lead to more hits, as the bloom will not have as much of an effect when trying to hit your enemy. Running while shooting will make the area of bloom larger, or shooting a sniper rifle without zooming in will make the effect of bloom very huge. For that reason, if you are strafing during combat, making very small strafes at a time may be ideal, so the bloom doesn't cause your shots to miss. Here, you can see some examples of how I shoot, and my movement while I shoot. This leads into our next set of tips right here, crouching. While aiming in just about any game, crouching will improve your accuracy. Not only that, it makes you a smaller target, making you harder to hit. In Fortnite, crouching will make your bloom affect a smaller target, helping you hit more. When getting the surprise on people from afar, remember to crouch before shooting, as this will greatly help your odds in bringing down your opponents. Just remember, the bloom mainly affects rifles and only snipers if you are trying to no-scope some poor bastard from across the map. Crouching and standing still with the shotgun won't grant you any benefits to aiming. And just a side note, the scoped AR does have bloom, so remember that when zoomed in with it and shooting. If the semi-automatic and the bolt action have bloom, I've never noticed it, as they both shoot very slowly. More on those later, and all the medium range rifles are hit scan. While we are on the topic of aiming, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the shotguns just a little bit. Like I was saying earlier, bloom doesn't really play a huge impact while using these, so obviously it's best to be constantly moving while being highly consistent with your shots. The pump shotgun shoots slower than the auto, but as of this time, causes massive damage when scoring critical hits. The auto shotgun is pretty effective at short range, and is probably my favorite weapon in the game. The shotgun is great for peek shooting at people around corners, and of course, there is really no reason to aim down sights, or ADS, with either shotgun. It's best just to hip fire, and try to hit them in the upper body head area. The shotguns work great in Fortnite, so don't be afraid to use them, even from a little bit of range. Now, on to the snipers. Aiming with these are a little bit trickier, as these are not hit scan, they are projectiles. That means you have to lead your target, account for bullet drop, and try to predict where your target will be when the bullet you shoot travels to the targeted area. These things are super deadly, so knowing how to aim well with one of these can make you super deadly, especially in the late game. Oftentimes, patience is key when using one of these, as a lot of the aiming has to do with just knowing when to take your shot. Of course, it is best to wait for your enemy to just stop moving and stand still. This will grant you a guaranteed hit almost, as you won't really have to account for the bullet travel, just a bullet drop. However, if they are running, try to predict their movement and line your shot up. If they are running in one direction consistently for a couple of seconds, line it up in front of them and pull the trigger. If lined up correctly, the person you are aiming at will just run into your bullet, probably dying. The snipers are obviously the toughest weapon to use in the game, and get easier through experience. Don't be afraid to use them, keep your distance, time your shot, and let them mofos rip. Of course, other options that may help your aiming is to play with your sensitivity, and find the setting that is truly comfortable for you. There are all kinds of guides out there to help you achieve this, and I highly recommend it. Make sure your settings are set perfectly, netting you the most FPS possible, and of course, nothing will improve your aim more so than just playing the game. This is really all I've got for right now, as I do plan on making more videos on Fortnite, so subscribe for those, and be sure to smack that like button. I'm going to try to upload more often, I promise, as I have discovered a newfound love in this game. As of right now, I'm taking a break from H1Z1 to explore other games, like this one, but I do plan on returning eventually. Either way, old sub or new sub, I love all you guys. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.